Hello. This informative video is coming from the Ninja Turtle sleeping blanket, and that's how you know it's legit. Today we're going to talk about my book pickups I got this week. If you didn't watch the episode before this is a channel that it's going to be me and my two co-hosts. We're longtime comic book lovers, and we're going to talk about comic books, dissect the artwork, talk about art in general, talk about history of the books, etc., etc., etc. And so today, like I said, we're going to talk about the book pickups I've had this week. I've had quite a few, some really good ones, and some that I'm going to call long box warmers. And speaking of a long box warmer, we're going to start with a book that my friend has talked about for years and I've seen in $1, $2 bins, and heaven forbid if it's ever been more expensive than $2. And that I mean the Malibu comic, The Ferret. And some of you might be wondering, what's Malibu? Why is the McDonald's logo on a comic book? Is this some 90s Ronald McDonald? No. Malibu was a comic book company, and this is one of their characters, the Ferret. I believe this is volume 2 of the book. I believe it started as a 3-issue miniseries, and then it became this. Don't quote me on that. I haven't done a deep dive yet. I just got this book yesterday, and I probably won't read it. I just find it's hilarious. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but the actual shape of the book is cut into like the dude's face image. Like it's not a perfectly cut book, it's shapely cut. Classic 90s gimmick, gotta sell them books somehow. And so we're gonna just flip through the pages, and I feel like someone ripped a Spawn first page. Like I feel like somewhere out there Spawn's holding out a thug over Spawn Alley. That's pretty cool though, that black and white piece. I'll give them that. Like, hey, someone did what they wanted to do. And I think this book ran for like 20 or 30 issues, so kudos to Malibu / anyone involved getting it that far. But my God, is it of its time. Like, you can't tell me it's not. Like, take away the weird cut gimmick for a second and just look at the artwork. Like, this is some Image rip-offs, and some Marvel. Like, oh, look, there's your Skrull. I don't think her arm would even. Oh my God! The more I look at it, I've looked at this panel like 3 times, and the way her arms are just freak me out. But like I said, someone followed their dream. Someone made a character named the Ferret, and I heard he gets rabies at one point in the comic. And if I read anything, it's gonna be that part of it. So, and we'll keep flipping through it, see if you cut any favorite panels. And if you've read The Ferret, please comment and tell me how it is. Am I like crapping on some hidden gem of the 90s? Is this Shakespearean? Like, are they putting Shakespeare next to a stroke ad pretty much? So, I just gotta know. I will say though, Malibu did make one of my favorite comics to collect, which is Dinosaurs for Hire. And I bet we do like a Malibu comprehensive review of books, a long view video, because they had some interesting stuff. So I'll keep my eye out for it. The only problem with collecting Malibu is you start going to some random antique stores, all they have is Malibu, but they think since it's a comic book, it's gotta be worth a lot. So, and I'm not paying $5 for a Malibu comic. I'm not paying more than $2, and $2's pushing it. So, funny fact about me getting this, I bought some other books in this. It came out to 21 bucks. This was $1, and the guy said, well, how about we just call it 20? So I got the Ferret for free, which I think a lot of people wish they did. I'd love to see the people who bought like 50 issues of this thinking it was going to make them rich. I don't even think 50 issues is worth $5. but it'll sit in my long box. I'll never sell it. I'll keep it. I like it. So, another cheapy but interesting buy I got was actually from today, which is this book called Role Player, or it's a magazine format, it's interesting. It's from the GURPS magazine, and this is a book that talks about role-playing games like D&D, Cyberpunk, and some others, and kind of talks about what's upcoming and I guess some new mechanics. And there's a couple reasons I bought this. Probably the biggest reason is sometimes in some of these books you'll get random art from some random artists. Like I have one from the Ninja Turtle RPG series, not the original one, but it's called Mutants in the Outback or Mutants Down Under, and it has a lot of Jim Lawson artwork in it and an Eastman cover. And, you know, it's amazing. I just have a book of like 90 Lawson illustrations now. So I was hoping to see if I can find something random in here, which I haven't yet, but it's still cool to have. They talk about Cyberpunk, which is one of my favorite genres / favorite games. I did play Cyberpunk, the RPG, with one of my co-hosts in high school a lot. And I played the video game when it launched and still play it. And I love it. It's no Fallout, but it's a great RPG. It's probably for me Fallout then Cyberpunk. But enough about video games, let's look at this book. And there's nothing really to it. It's just, like I said, a whole lot of reading. A whole lot of it. Like I'll flip through fast because there's nothing really. I think it's an illustration per 2 pages. So yeah, there's nothing really too crazy about it. But yeah, one of the, I guess, neat things is this is issue 21 or number 21. They get fancy. It, you know, and then on the back it talks about up until February, and this book came out in August of 1990. So what? September, October, November, December, January, February. They had planned up to 27 issues. I haven't been able to find anything on this shit. I got this book this afternoon, and so I haven't had time to really check in on it. But my God, good on them. Good on this company for getting 21 books out in the 90s. You know, I don't know if there was, you know, any competitors to this, because Wizard surely wouldn't talk about D&D. Toy Fair wouldn't surely talk about D&D. So good on them for bringing some news / fun new game mechanics. Probably made some people's nights growing up. Good on them. You know, I'm sure someone studied how to be a cyberpunk vampire, because they added that or talk about that. I think it might be a fan edit, and they just talk about it. So good on them. And now we'll talk about probably my most expensive buy, which happened from today. For a whopping $10, I finally have a Watchmen trade paperback. And when I mean finally, I swear, everywhere you go, like, how old is this book? How long? How many times it has been reprinted? I'm sure this is one of the top DC books to get reprinted. I bet it's at least in the top 5. Like Dark Knight, this, probably, I'm trying to think. Kingdom Come, maybe? Probably not Kingdom Come. I feel like that's a little obscure. But Dark Knight, this. I'm trying to think of some famous Batman stories. I don't know. I guess Dark Knight. Yeah, I'm probably going to get crucified in the comments for it. And Watchmen. Yeah, people are going to be mad I don't know the top 5 most printed books. But I'd say this is up there. If Time Magazine's calling it one of, the best novels. You bet your bottom dollar it's been reprinted. And I have personal history with Watchmen. This was the first comic book I ever read. I didn't have it physical, but I read it online and sort of, I guess, half-watched it through DC's animated, or I guess motion comic on YouTube. And me and my best friend, this is one of the first things we ever talked about, was the Watchmen book in the 5th grade. So if that explains anything about how me and him act, just remember we read Watchmen way too young. And I'm not going to flip through it too much. Most of you probably know what Watchmen is. And if you don't, go look it up. I will say Watchmen is a book every comic book reader should read at least once. Just at least once. It was very influential, very famous. It's, still holds up. And it's, just great. Problematic at times, but great. And I might do an art piece from it. I don't know if I've said this yet, but me and my 2 co-hosts were all 3 working artists. Hopefully I remember to, at the beginning of the video, show what I'm working on. I need to do better about that by just like jumping in. But I'm a printmaker by trade, so I think I might be doing a comedian print pretty soon, or just something. I don't want to do a Rorschach print, because Rorschach's kind of got that Punisher persona now, where if you like the Punisher, then oh well, you're one of these people. But I might do a print of the comedian in that outfit, or at least some stippling. That'd look pretty cool, I think. So, yep. I also love the comedian's like design. It's like so like simple, but I feel like great. Like just his shoulder pad is awesome. I feel like that's how actual like comic book characters would be in real life, which I get is the point of Watchmen. But yeah, no, I'm just flipping through this part because if you know Watchmen, it starts to get a little raunchy. Or a lot worse than raunchy, depending on who you ask. So, close that up for now. I bet we do a video on this in the future talking about it. Maybe skipping an issue. Don't really want to talk about a specific one. But, I don't know. Finally have it. I can start reading this now instead of my singles. So, and this will just stay on my shelf now. I also love that DC logo. That's like my era of DC logo, not the, I can't even tell you what the logo looks like now. I assume it has a D and a C in it. But other than that, don't know. Probably, so now we're getting into my 2, like, favorite pickups. And I'm going to start with the way I'm going to separate it. This is one I will study and look at and just try to learn a lot from. I can't read it because it's in Portuguese, and I'll get to that, but this is Moebius's Blueberry, which is a cowboy comic from a French artist, and it is incredible. I encourage everyone to read it. At least the first issue. You, as an artist, you will gain so much from it, or just looking at his artwork in general. Moebius will always be an incredible artist, and I don't think can ever be, redone. He's like Kirby in that regards, whereas I don't think any artist can come, some can come close, like Darrow can come close to Blueberry, Buscema can come close to Kirby, but, Moebius and Kirby will always hold a candle to these youngster artists that try to come up after them. So this book is in Portuguese, so I can't read it, but this stuff's hard to find, people. This book is, I swear, if I found the English version, might be like a $50 to $100 book. So I was happy to pay $1 for it on eBay for the Portuguese version. And I think that'd be a dope Moebius tattoo, little black and white. Blueberry is my favorite Mobius property creation. My other co-host will probably say Azrak and his Marvel pieces, but this is my favorite. I love a good Western. I grew up loving Jonah Hex, and growing to grandparents watching any John Wayne movie they had, and I guess one of my favorite newer Westerns is Preacher, which is my favorite comic book of all time. But this is my favorite Mobius, speaking of Azrak. I love this book. I love Mobius. I will cherish this book and probably, look at it so much that the binding's gonna give out, because that's the only bad thing, is it's like a book with just a spine. So I guess if this is book 8, I need to find the other, if there's like 17 others, because I don't know if there's enough Blueberry for 17. But like, look at that color usage. I don't know if you can see it that good, but just that panel, like, look at how many panels he got onto a page. But it's so dynamic, and it doesn't get boring. And like, I can't draw a horse to save my life. Look how he does it. It's incredible. And I've read quite a bit of Mobius. I've read quite a bit of Blueberry, not all. I've read, I think, all of Young Blueberry, and I've read quite a few of just Blueberry. Because there's Blueberry, and then there's Young Blueberry, which is kind of his origin. Go figure. But his art's incredible. Like I said, I'm going to keep this book forever. There's never a doubt that I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm just going to study it right along here. Talk about what I see, what I like, how can I do that, how did he do it. And that's what you got to do with these trades, man. You write on the edges sometimes. Talking about what you can learn. That might be a good video one day, a year from now, show what I've written in it. Get trades you're either willing to do that in, or cheap enough you can get 2 of. Because, like, newer books, if I like it, like Darrow's Cruel to Be Kin, I got like 4 issues of #1. And 2 of them are just for studying, so they got just random Sharpie in them at times, talking about what I like. But yeah. His art's incredible. I feel like I've probably said that 10 times, but it will always be. He makes just a brown color scheme kind of pop. Like, look how it pops with his blonde hair and his blue shirt. Color theory. Like, you can just learn the basics, Like, I will do a full video on just this book probably. We might break down each issue and just look at it through this book, because I haven't been able to find singles that I can afford on a full-time art student's salary. So, got any French listeners out there, trade you some blue jeans or something. I don't know if you got those there. We got Krispy Kreme here. Send you some donuts for some Blueberry. Incredible. Yeah, see, like, the way the book is, you're starting to lose some stuff as you get here. Like, I bet it gets, oh yeah, like, I guess it's better there. I don't know. I bet for, like, yeah, I guess once you kind of reach over the halfway part, it gets better. That's my only complaint. Like, my only complaint with this book is it gets hard to kind of read it. Just look at that. Look at that. Look the way he uses color. Look at the composition. Like, look at the way he even does the, the bubbles. Like, it's such a great panel. You could rip out this panel, and that's like $100,000 work of art, in my opinion. Like, I've worked in art galleries, and that's what I'm currently doing, and I could see that for sure in a gallery with some of the shows we've had. Or like just this panel. Like, how how did he come up with that? Where was he like when he could have done a panel like that, but instead he goes full monochrome, you know, or like here, like he mixes monochrome with that. Like, how does he decide that? Because like as an artist, your eyes first drawn to that panel. Like, you know who that is if you read the story. That's one of the antagonists. You know it. But like panels like that extends it for the audience. Like, you have to remember him. He's a big part of the story. You know? And that's what I mean by learning from him. Is, you know, I won't be afraid to swipe. I'll give credit. But you might see me do a composition like that in the future. You know? It's insane. I love Blueberry. I love Mobius. Like, look at the, I don't know if you can see that, but the lettering on that poster, incredible. Looks like a Lee Culkin poster. It's crazy. I need my co-host to like read more Blueberry. I think one has read quite a few, but I don't think the other one has. That dirty dog. You know who I'm talking about. God, just look at these panels. Yeah. But yeah, I could talk forever about this book and about Mobius. And we're gonna do a whole lot of episodes on him, I bet, because there's just so much you could talk about with him. I guess I'll talk about how I kind of, real quick, learned about him. I love Jeff Darrow. He's probably my favorite artist. I try to be like him, study him, probably more than Mobius, and probably like most of his fans up until a couple years ago. I thought he was a French student of Mobius's, and so from that I just started looking into Mobius, picking up his heavy metal issues, Long Tomorrow, and then finding out about this masterpiece. Because before I kind of learned this, I was like, oh, he just does 2 like page stories, 2-4. That's cool, but his art's good, but he never did anything. And then seeing this, I was like, oh my god, this guy is incredible. So, yep, that's enough of Blueberry, because I could probably spend the rest of my storage on my camera just talking about this. And I want to get to my other favorite books, because it's multiple. That being Mike Allred's Madman, the world's snappiest comic magazine. And I got quite a few issues. I got the first one in the Dark Horse comic, that being my favorite Dark Horse logo, and probably a tattoo I'm gonna get, because I love Dark Horse. But yeah, and we're just gonna flip through them. I got what? Issue 1, issue 2, issue 3. There's my boy Darrow. Issue, was it 6, 8, 9, and 11. I recently found out about Madman through one of my co-hosts. I was looking for a fun comic to read, and he recommended Madman. I read the first trade, which was the first 3 books that came out under Tundra's publishing, and I fell in love with it. It's if you don't know, it's just a fun little comic about our main guy, Frank Einstein, just going about some wacky adventures. If I had to compare it to anything, it's like Bone. That kind of almost, I wouldn't say Madman's all ages, but I'd say about teens to all ages, you know, past teens. Like, I'd read this at 10. If I read Watchmen at 5th grade, I think you could read this at 5th grade. But it's great. Mike Allred's super dope. I've been doing research on him, learning more about him. I love him. And I love this book. Once I get the trade, because I don't want to hurt these issues that much, I'll read these. Like, trust me, I'll read them, but I won't flip through them like crazy until I get the trade, because I don't want to hurt them because of how pretty they look. And so, yeah, great story. Can't wait to read these. Me and the co-host will probably do an episode. Not probably. We'll do an episode on Madman, and probably Mike Allred in general. Mike, if you ever hear this, I love your comic. I think it's great. Can you teach me how to draw expressions like you do? Because I feel like that's something no one talks about. The way he does expressions with those saucer-like eyes, I'm just like, oh my god. Because sometimes drawing expressions for me ain't super easy. Well, my guys look constipated sometimes. And he just knocks it out with 2 colors, black and white, for the eyes. It's incredible. Let's bust open this comic, this first issue, and just look at it. It even feels nice, like the paper. Yep. Like, I love it. And I've probably hadn't known anything about this up until about a month ago, if that. It's been less than a month. But about for 6 months, my co-host has been picking up a lot of these issues. He really likes it. And so I asked him if I would. He said yes. He let me read his first trade of it. I fell in love with it. It's great. I encourage everyone to read it. You know, it's a good book, good story. You know, you not to crap on it, but you're not, you can't, or I shouldn't say that. You're going to learn different things than this, and you're going to learn different things from, like, Mobius. Like, here, I feel like you learn how to tell a great story, a fun story, where Mobius, you just learn a lot of technical aspects. But, yeah. I was trying to draw, like, this panel the other day, because I'm doing a little art piece. I could show it real quick. I'm a printmaker by trade, so I'm doing a little yo-yo ad for one of his weapons is a yo-yo. And so I'm doing the front side him and the second side the Thunderbolt and all the studios underneath. But I feel like that, after looking at the panel, that is not probably going to redraw that. Just trying to draw it from memory. So, but yeah, I think everyone should read this. I think this is a good young adult comic. I could definitely see this in like middle school, high school libraries. You know, I could see this getting kids to read. God, look at that panel. The way he's showing that emotion. Because he can kind of, I don't know how to describe it. His power is he feels things. He's got like a sixth sense. Don't see dead people though. At least not the parts I've read yet. And trying to draw his hair. I don't know what the deal is, but I feel like I always draw it wrong. But yeah. Look at that emotion. The differences in emotions in these 3 or 4 panels with just black and white. But like, we just need to talk about that. Spend a whole like 10-minute segment, which we're not going to do. But I feel like we could. You know. Is he getting some Hernandez influence right there? Woo. Yeah. Good book. I want to pick up the Tundra books. I want to do a video on Tundra about all the ideas that never happened. But, yeah. I don't think I've seen an ad in this yet. Just good stuff, man. Good stuff. I want to look at the Darrow one too, and I think we'll wrap it up at. Oh my god, I didn't know there's a Frank Miller cover on the back. Man, I gotta buy 2. Gotta buy another one. So I can display the Frank Miller. Wow. Live reaction here. That's really cool. I love me some Miller art. I feel like that's a Sin City panel right there. I feel like he swiped that from his own book. Like, I feel like this is Dwight jumping in the big fat kill. Oh, that's his jacket. I was like, did Frank draw 2 arms? No. Frank just draws extra left hand sometimes. I'll probably frame this. I have a whole comic book wall at my place, and great cover. Great cover to study for a number 1. I feel like that'll be a video. We'll just look at number 1s and the covers, what makes them work. I feel like this is a perfect 10 out of 10, or at the very low end for all you critics, a 9 out of 10 for great first issue cover. Because, you know, gotta admit, snappiest comic magazine out there. Alright, now I want to, like, flip the back of each one to see what's... I wonder if the Darrow one has a full Darrow piece on the back. Because that's Big Guy. If you don't know, that's a Jeff Darrow Frank Miller creation. I don't know who did that. If that's an all red one. My friend, one of my co-hosts picked up that issue, and I'm jealous now. If anyone's got one of these Mad Men shirts and you don't want it, I'm a size large. But I'll wear anything. I'll wear a small as a crop top. I'll get them views maybe that way. Did it say who did the back and the... Bruce Timm. Big Guy plane. Is it called a plane or a blimp? The thing Big Guy drives. I always thought he just flew. I didn't know he had a blimp until like a month ago. But yeah. I think we're going to look at the back of each one of these and see what the back cover is. Because after that Miller one, you know, I'm pretty curious what the rest are. So what? We got issue 8. Let's see what's on the back of issue 8. What, P-Bag? I don't know who that is. Don't hate me, I'm still learning. Peter Bag. You get a barf bag. Or, let's see what we got. Come on, issue 2. I don't know what I'm hoping for. Do I want more Miller? Do I want... I know Ross did some artwork. That'd be cool to see. What is this? Mitch O'Connell, an Irishman. Hey, tween. Issue 3. A Toth cover. That's cool to see. I guess this is pre-Toth all red breakup. Toth, he wasn't trying to call you anything. He just wants to be your friend. And now Toth will never talk to me again, or ever, because I said that. That's a cool cover though. I feel like we should